Where is Fuad?
He's right here.
Is it? How do you pronounce the last name? Stamen? Like that. Stamen. Okay, great. Thank you. And congratulations.
And Kate, how do you pronounce your last name? Leon. Okay, good evening, everybody. It's so wonderful to see everybody gathered here this evening. We are honoring the deceased attorneys that passed away this year, and we are also honoring the three third-year students that won the essay contest this year and won our scholarship. What I'd like to do, though, as an introduction, I want to call out all of the directors for the Senior Lawyers Division and ask them to stand up so that you know who they are. I'm going to start with Peter Chestnut. Go ahead, Peter. Peter Chestnut, and he is the chair-elect for next year. So I will be the chair again this coming year, 2026, and Peter's going to be the chair in 2027. Okay, and Charles Gerd. Charles, and he has been a past chair, and he comes to every single meeting that we have, and is very active as well. Okay, Carrie Brandenburg, where's Carrie seated? There you are, Carrie Brandenburg, and she has been a member longer than I have. How long have you been a board member? A long time. A long, long time. We don't count anymore at my age. Okay, that sounds great. Okay, and who else is here? Judge Bustamante? Okay, Judge Bustamante. Judge, how long have you been a member of the board? A long, long time too? Too long? Okay, I've been a member of the board, I think, 6 years, I believe now. Okay, Deborah Seligman. Okay, and you came on 2 years ago? Okay, so she has been a member for 2 years, also very active. Dan Bayless. Dan is also our representative for the Board of Bar Commissioners. He's our treasurer and he's our secretary, and he has a fantastic party in the fall. So,
I've been on our board for
25 years? Oh my goodness. Well, I think you win. I knew it wasn't me. That's great, Dan. Thanks for letting me know. Okay. All right. So I want to welcome everybody that's.
Terry.
Oh, and Terry Revo. My right-hand man, Terry Revo. And you've been on the board?
20 years.
20 years. Wow. Okay. That's a long time. Thank you, Terry. And Terry is also very active. He and I and Charles, I mean, all of us kind of like do the different projects together. So we work really, really well together. So it's a wonderful board. And I really like our mission is to help others. And so I think we have a good purpose. The theme this year, Dan came up with the idea when we were at the annual meeting of having an invitation so that he could pass those out to the Board of Bar Commissioners and that we could pass those out to families, individuals, and we're doing that tonight too. And so I got a little bit bored during one of the seminars. I'm not going to say which one, but anyway, I designed it during the annual meeting and then, of course, went home and then I prepared the invitation. And so the theme is passing the baton. And the idea is to pass the baton to the young attorneys, soon to be attorneys, and to recognize the hard work that really goes into being an attorney. It's not just the day that you pass the bar or the day that you graduate from law school. Obviously, from experience, most people say that first semester is the hardest they have ever experienced. And that was my experience as well. And then after that, it gets a lot easier. The thing that we are so blessed at UNM to have, in my opinion, the best professors in the whole United States, and we always have. And they are always supportive. They're with you. They're working with you. And they've been so helpful towards all the classes, not just mine, 1982, but all of the classes. And we're seeing that now because we're working closely with the law school, especially for the scholarship program. The essay question presented this year was, in today's political climate, how will you balance the professional and business aspects of the practice of law? So obviously the question involved not only legal composition and thinking, but definitely involved an ethics question as well. We had 20 entries. That's the most since I've been on the board for the past 6 years. That's the most that we've received, and all of them were good. I mean, they were definitely, all the board members that were on the committee said these were the best they had ever seen. And so the 3 winners that we have tonight, they are the best of the best. And I've had a chance to talk to each one of them, and Terry will be introducing them as well. But we want to thank Serge Martinez because he has opened his classroom, his 3rd year clinical law class to us to be able to talk to the students about the scholarship program. We were able to give handouts this year, and then we actually met each one of the students as we gave the handouts. And so we're just so thankful to you, Serge, for really helping the program as much as you have. So tonight we pass the baton, and we do honor the attorneys that have passed away this past year. Unfortunately, as I get older and older, one of my best friends in law school this year passed away this year. And so that's when it hit me, because I thought, oh man, are the floodgates opening now? You know what I mean? Because at first it didn't really hit me because it didn't hit home as much. But when my friend passed away, I thought, oh my gosh, are my other friends going to start passing away right after she did? So I think this is such a lovely ceremony to honor the work that these attorneys have done. And like I said, not just once they start practicing law, but everything that they did, everything that they accomplished in order to become an attorney. And we honor and respect that. So thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. Serge?
Thank you very much. Good evening. My name is Serge Martinez. I'm the Associate Dean for Experiential Learning at UNM School of Law and the director of our clinics and a faculty member. And up until recently, thought of myself as the unofficial liaison to the Senior Lawyers Division. But having now reached the point where I'm automatically apparently a member of the Senior Lawyers Division, I'm delighted to join you and to be part of this august company. And I really have come to recognize what a privilege it is to be part of this group, and I'm grateful for my early induction, but also glad to be official now. So first I want to acknowledge the primary reason we're here. Our community has lost so many members this year, and on behalf of the law school, I want to join the Senior Lawyers Division in honoring and remembering them and offering our sincere condolences to the friends and family members of those who we lost. I'm grateful that we have a chance to be here tonight to remember their contributions and acknowledge their history and their legacy, and to give thanks to the Senior Lawyers Division for organizing this lovely commemoration. I'm also extremely grateful to the Senior Lawyers Division for its well, I guess our continued commitment to providing incredibly generous scholarships to our students. So on behalf of UNM School of Law, thank you, thank you, thank you. I have invited Jocelyn Terry to come to my classroom for the last few years to talk about
Not
this
until
scholarship
we
because it's such an
actually,
incredible
when I
gift and
start
so generous for
narrating
our
the names
students.
here.
And
So
also to
just-
introduce our students to the members of the Senior Lawyers Division and help them understand something that I definitely did not when I was a law student, but have come to understand as a member of this profession and this community here in New Mexico in particular, which is that obviously everything we do is built on the work and the foundations that have been laid by those who came before us, and the service of everyone who has been a part of this profession for so long. And there are so many opportunities to embrace the great ideas that they've had and the example they've set, and so many mistakes that we can avoid making if we are able to learn from the wisdom and experience of those members of the Senior Lawyers Division, and to connect across the generations, like this event and this scholarship and this commitment from the Senior Lawyers Division really does. So I am grateful for the strong foundations that have been laid for the rule of law and for the values of this profession by the Senior Lawyers Division, by the lawyers who have been part of this work for so long. And I want to recognize how much they have done to pave the way for the rising class of law school graduates and the newest lawyers to join our community here. I want to congratulate our students, Kate and Fawad. What an honor to be recognized for your writing and for the essays that you produced, and for receiving these scholarships. And what a generous scholarship this is. And I have had the opportunity to get to know all three of these winners during their law school time, and I think these are all amazingly good choices, and I'm really, really pleased with the winners of this year's scholarship, as I am with last year's winners. I also want to recognize that these scholarships represent more than financial support, although obviously it is significant, especially for a young lawyer still in law school. But they represent that link between the most experienced members of our profession and the freshest. And the commitment of the Senior Lawyers Division to share their experience and wisdom with the younger lawyers, but also to make space for new ideas, new energy, new vision to join this profession. And I'm really pleased to see this connection across different generations of lawyers in this event and this scholarship, and this hopefully ongoing relationship between the Senior Lawyers Division and the law school. The Senior Lawyers Division, I think, represents the very best of our profession. And they've embraced that role of stewards of this profession and providing an opportunity for you all to enter a community that really, really is excited to welcome you and have you join us. I am also personally deeply grateful for your commitment to the students at UNM School of Law. I love the students that I get to work with every day, and I'm grateful when other people take the opportunity to recognize them and acknowledge how special and just innovative and exciting and what great energy they have. It's very gratifying to me to know that I'm not the only one. I know I'm not, but that the rest of the legal community sees that. And of course, in my role as Associate Dean, I want to once again thank you to the Senior Lawyers Division for your unfailing support and dedication to the success of our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Serge. Next, we're going to hear from Hakeem Bellamy, and he was one of the winners last year, and he agreed to come back and speak to everybody this year. Thank you, Hakeem.
Whenever I can, I try to go right after Serge. That's usually my goal. I think Serge, in no small part, I appreciate what Jocelyn said about the professors at UNM School of Law. I don't graduate without professors like Serge And I talk about that a little bit in my remarks, which I've written down. They are not a poem, but I wrote them down to stay within the time constraints I was given. But I do think that I'm just thankful, right, for the support that I received at UNM as a non-traditional student, and making sure that I got across the finish line of law school. So, good evening. I'm so grateful to be here, and I mean that like a leadoff double entendre from a would-be barrister bard. Grateful to Jocelyn and the Senior Lawyers Division leadership for having me here today, and doubly grateful to be here today since I was unable to join you all in person as an essay competition scholarship recipient a year ago. I was in the DC program last year, so I was on the Zoom. That makes me here, present, accounted for, and grateful. I'd be remiss if I didn't also take the opportunity to thank the selection committee for making me a scholarship awardee last year, not just because I could use the money. I'm sure I was not unique as far as law students go in that regard, but as you may or may not be able to tell with respect to age and not years of service, I am much further to the Senior Lawyers Division end of the spectrum than much of my UNM School of Law graduating class cohort. I didn't just need money. I needed some wins. I needed some encouragement. I needed to feel like I belonged amongst these other brilliant legal minds in my classes. I needed to feel like I could cut the mustard, like I had what it takes. The demands of a middle-aged parent and spouse, switching trains mid-career, shout out to Paul's Graph and Long Island Railroad Co., meant that I didn't have the same resource of time to compete to be on Journal or Moot Court or even make a proper push for a Cali Award. I had to pick and choose my spots, partially to protect my time and partially to protect my ego. The scholarship opportunity felt doable, although I had no delusions of winning. Always one to lean into the policy considerations portions of a law school exam question, I was drawn to the current events nature of the question presented, and the rest was, as we say, history, a history that continues to unfold in more ways than some. God bless America and God bless the rule of law. Speaking of America, there's an African proverb that goes, "A split tree still grows." In the interest of time, because lawyers are busy people, I chose not to bring a poem tonight, but rather a much more compact metaphor, an esoteric fact pattern, if you will. Not only does the cut tree not die at the time it is cut, benefiting from the nourishment the stump continues to receive from the root system it is connected to, trees live on through the seeds they bear, which to me is an appropriate metaphor for the work of this division with respect to this memorial. We are an ecosystem of one another. More than just fertilizer. If we are lucky, we get to be the root DNA of future generations of lawyers everywhere. So the African tree of life, you might have heard about it in, I don't know, The Lion King, is often a baobab tree, which symbolizes resilience, strength, and endurance, which are all things you need to get through law school, due to its ability to store water and thrive in arid conditions, which is what you need to be in law school in New Mexico. It is also a source of sustenance, shelter, and resources, which was my experience at UNM School of Law. Providing food, both for the soul and actual food at those lunchtime events, water, medicine, and the other things you need to survive and get by in order to finish law school and move on with the rest of your life, and ultimately probably one day be part of this division if we are lucky. Culturally, the baobab tree is a sacred symbol for gathering, storytelling, and making community decisions. And I think that's what lawyers do. And that's evidenced by the work of this committee and the work you continue to do. So I'm just thankful and grateful to you. I also want to add that one of the people listed in the folks that we lost last year is a good dear friend of mine, former State Senator Bill O'Neill. So I just wanted to invoke his name in the room for all of our lawyers and legal adjacent community people. What you do is really special and important, and I thank you for continuing to do it.
Thank you, Hakeem. Okay, next we're going to hear from Director Peter Chestnut.
Thank you, Jocelyn, and thanks everybody for coming. I am grateful for the opportunity to perform in the memorial part of this memorial scholarship event, because I feel it's been heartwarming to hear what Hakeem and Serge said about how lawyers fit into the bigger picture. I think it's important to reflect as we go into this section. I ask everybody just take a deep breath and exhale and kind of center, because I want to reflect that part of what we're doing in this memorial part of the ceremony is acknowledging State Bar of New Mexico member lawyers who were individuals licensed by the Supreme Court of New Mexico as attorneys and counselors at law. I learned in my career that that covers a broad range of activities, a lot of different functions that that an attorney can do, and counseling at law was something I embraced at the beginning. I felt that was one of the big services that lawyers can provide to the communities. People say, hey, what do you think about this? And our training helps us to pay attention to facts, be thoughtful and kind. And you don't have to, but you can be, right? And so we senior lawyers want to acknowledge the previous generation of previous generations of lawyers have practiced law in various ways to help, what I like to say is, weave the fabric of the society we live in today. And future lawyers will continue to do so. So the Senior Lawyers Division hosts this solemn and respectful event each year to recognize and recall the names of our colleagues, mentors, family members, and friends in the legal profession whose lives ended in the past year. And we give our sympathy and condolences to all of those who are here who don't have those folks with them live, but still in memory. And we'll get to a poem. I get to read a poem that touches on this. Each deceased member contributed immeasurably to making the legal system in New Mexico what it is today. Each in their own way supported and received support from families, clients, colleagues, and friends, some of whom are here today, in person or virtually, to join in remembering them. We senior lawyers acknowledge and appreciate the unsung yet vital support family members and colleagues provide to each of the departed lawyers. None of us do it by ourselves. Even when you're in solo practice, where I was for a while, you need the balance of a lot of other people and resources to keep your focus. So the poem that we've been reading each year, I will read now. It's called We Remember Them. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember them. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember them. In the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember them. In the blueness of the sky and the warmth of summer, we remember them. In the rustling of leaves and in the bounty of autumn, we remember them. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. So long as we live, they too shall live, for they are part of us now as we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember them. When we have decisions that are difficult to make, we remember them. When we have achievements that are based on theirs, we remember them. So long as we live, they too shall live, for they are part of us now, as we remember them. Now, we will hear the names of each of our colleagues who died during the past year. And we will read the names of some of the State Bar of New Mexico members who died in the past 3 years, who were inadvertently missed in previous ceremonies, but we want to honor them as well. The State Bar has prepared a slideshow presentation with the name and dates of birth and death for each recently departed lawyer. A chime will sound following the reading of each name. We invite any family member or colleague of a deceased lawyer to stand or raise a hand when the name of your loved one or friend is called, so others can recognize you when we meet after the ceremony. I'll turn it over to the reader of names, and Terry Revo will chime the bowl for each name. We feel that this adds to the depth and solemnness of what we're doing, because we're remembering people who lived lives and spirits that carry on with us. So, Jocelyn?
Thank you, Peter. Thank you. Okay. I just have a question for David. Can you come up? Did you have that letter for them? Did you give them each one of the letters?
I gotta go get it.
Okay, all right. Okay. We're good. Okay. All right. Albert J. Costales. Andrew Bachmeyer. Anthony J. Velosa. Arthur Joseph R. Barbara DeWeaver. Bernadette R. Cedillo. Bertrand Edward Allen. Bill O'Neill. Bob Franklin Turner. Bradley Henderson Bartlett. Carolyn Banks. Carolyn Merchant. Carol Leach. Charles Jean Samberson. Charles Hinkle Call, went by Chuck. Charlie William Chavis. Clifford Charles Grammer, he went by George. Daniel Rakes. Dave Romero Jr. David T. Thuma. Dick Arthur Blendon. District Judge Ricky Dale Purcell. Also a judge, Don Savette. Donna M. Christensen. Eddie Michael Gallegos. Elizabeth Ann Florsheim. Elliot Taubman. Felix Briones Jr., Frank A. Murray III, Frank Andrews III, Frank Collister Redmond, Fred R. Harris, George Michael Scarborough went by Mike, Gloria McCary, James R. Lawley, he went by Joe. Oh, and I'm sorry, Hunter Gear. And there's Joe Lawley. J. L. Farrow II, Jess Robert Lilly, Jessica Wade Camper, Joanne Cisneros West, John Marvin Wells, John L. Walker, Judge Julie Altwise, Judith Ann McLeod, Kathleen A. Miller, Kenneth L. Beal, Liberante John Russo, Luhana Walker, Lavelle Hamilton May Jr., Mark William Taylor, I think that's misspelled, Taylor, Michael Terrence Murphy, Morris Dale Stagner, Margaret Grammer Gay, Patrick Hurley, he went by Pat, Patrick Joseph Francoeur, Paul B. Hartsfield, Paul Briones, Paul Trujillo, Perry S. Key, Judge Philip Ashby, Philip Bayamonte, Richard Lewis Girding, he went by Dick, Richard Avelis, he went by Rick, Robert L. Bosser, Robert P. Tinnen Jr., Robert St. John, Ronald R. Walker, Susan Ruth Tungate, Susan Tomita, Thomas O. Olson, Thor Olav Emblem Sr., Tobin Ondo, he went by Toby. Honorable Thomas James Hines. Thomas Rutherford III. Tony Sawtell. Virginia Ferrara. Walter Farrell Payton Jr. Let's go ahead and pause at this point and just take a moment of silence for the deceased attorneys and judges. Okay, next we have Director Terrence Revo, and he will pass out the scholarship letters to the 3 winners and announce them, formally announce them. Okay.
It's always a joy and a sorrow to be part of this event. Because as was mentioned before, the older we get, the more names we recognize. And sometimes it's a heartache, and sometimes it's just a wonderful task to do for people that we know have passed on and have been part of a wonderful, wonderful profession. Now, you hear a lot about lawyers and advertising and the profession. But the truth is that regardless of what you feel about that, think and feel about that, most of the lawyers in this community, and I hope in other communities, are good, hardworking people. People that stayed late at the office. People that worked hard and studied and researched and wondered how they were going to do this and how they were going to do that. So my thought is that when we do this event, we just encourage a small group of people, small group of potential lawyers to do their best. And this year, as in the past, they did. And I'll echo what Jocelyn said, that the submissions that we got this year were probably the best. Now, I've been involved in this event for the 11 years that's referenced on the handout. Sometimes I've been the chair, sometimes I'm just a participant. But it's been good. And it fills me inside to know that we've taken the time to acknowledge the attorneys who gave what they had to the profession, to their families, and to the community. So what I'd like to do is introduce you to the wonderful people who were the winners. And it wasn't always easy to decide. But this year, there was an awful lot to talk about. And as there was last year, by the way. So the first, and I'm going to ruin his name, so I'm only going to identify him by his first name, and he can tell you his last two. But this is Fuad. And he believes that in today's political climate, financial pressures, public opinions challenge the ethical foundation of the legal profession. And there's no doubt that that's true. He also believes that practicing law today is like walking a tightrope. And I've never heard that before, but I was immediately drawn to your essay by that statement because it's true. You know, we're up there trying to balance the various different needs of everybody. And I think I said this last year, I'll say it again this year. The stressors that lawyers, young lawyers, medium age, and old lawyers encounter in the profession is really tough. And it's like walking a tightrope, and that's every day, and sometimes the weekends. And sometimes when you're preparing for trial, if you choose that avenue, it's tough. It's really tough. So he says practicing law is like a tightrope with principle and profit exerting opposing forces. The rope is narrow, the winds are sudden, and the risk of missteps profound. And man, is that true. So thank you for sharing that with us. I do have one other thing that you said to us that I want to bring to everyone's attention. Oh, a lawyer who listens with empathy builds loyalty that legal strategies alone cannot match. And you also told us something else. Oh yeah. With the knowledge of our foundation, ethics is a guide. And we hear this all the time, every year when you got to take ethics courses and professionalism courses. Ethics is truly a guide. And humanity is our compass. We can navigate the profession's complexities while preserving our principles. So with that, I would like to introduce you to Fuad, who's going to tell us his middle and last name properly. Here's the good stuff.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Fouad Htaimat Lagdani.
Oh, say that again to make sure everybody gets it
So,
into the microphone.
ouais, so
Yeah, go to the mic.
Fouad Htaimat Lagdani. So first, I want to thank. Oh, sorry, I have to. I want to thank Mr. Torres and Mr. Rivo and the New Mexico Lawyers Division for this beautiful award and for creating this important memorial ceremony. I'm truly honored to be here. Your effort to recognize those who came before us reflects the very best of the legal profession. My sincere thoughts go to the late lawyers we honor today and to their families. A memorial like this is vital It gave us a space to remember those who shaped our path and to celebrate their legacy. Should be seen, shared, and felt by all whose lives they touched. Honoring the older generation is a duty. Their dedication, guidance, and sacrifices made the law cleaner, more just, and more human for all who followed. They deserve our respect. We owe them gratitude and the commitment to carry forward their pursuit of justice. I choose to write my essay on humanity because it's a foundation of the very heart of who we are, where we cannot lie to ourselves. I deeply believe that human values such as dignity, wisdom, integrity, honesty, humility, and compassion are that allow us to truly respond to the needs of others and achieve balance in life. These values will last forever. They do not fade when life becomes difficult. In fact, they are the very quality we rely on most in time of chaos. I always speak and write from my heart. Doing so doesn't mean being naive or being weak. It means being human, being yourself, where the true meaning of power lies, where everything becomes possible, and where you take responsibility for your words and actions. For example, making this ceremony come to life is a purely human act. As a future lawyer, being human means serving, protecting, caring for, and standing up for people, especially for the vulnerable and voiceless. We all face judgment in life, and it is precisely through these challenges that we find our strength. It brings to something personal, my accent. Yes, a few people laugh at me, underestimate me, and don't take me seriously because of the way I speak. Funny, huh? Isn't it? But I'm not mad on them. I am actually sorry for them. They have no idea how much their attitude galvanizes me. After all, everyone has an accent, even ignorance. No offense for these people. I stand here today because of my parents. France is the country of my birth, and my family comes from Morocco, Casablanca. My parents came to France in the 70s, seeking a better life, as many immigrants around the globe. Although they left school around age, I think, 12 or 13 years, it gave my siblings and me something far more valuable than diplomas: unconditional love, faith, and a passion for learning. Before I was a semi-professional middle distance runner, and I lived in 5 different countries. I grew up in Grigny, La Grande-Borne is one of the poorest towns in France, just 15 miles south of Paris, and far from the romantic postcard of the city. There I witnessed resilience, compassion, and a strong sense of community and solidarity. From a young age, I confronted the harsh realities of a pitiless world, where injustice and indignity came not from books, but from life itself. It was in this environment that my desire to become a lawyer first took root. And tonight I would like to take this opportunity during this memorial to pay tribute to 3 most important human beings I have lost, whom I deeply miss. My father was a brave man, My little brother was a true gentleman and deeply kind, as my father and my mother. I lost her just last year. She was everything to me, my love. She was extraordinary, and she held the highest diploma a human being can have. A pure, loving heart and values stronger than steel. My mother always remind me, treat people the way you want to be treated, and never forget where you're coming from. Honestly, whatever I become in life, I will never ever come close to the greatness of my parents. My gratitude to them is endless. And I would like also to send a special thought to the friends and loved one I have lost. You know, we have Kent Anderson from Sweden, 2011. You have Anthony Jenkins from UNM Law School. He was a UNM Law School officer, 2016. Dr. Suleiman Kassissier we call him Soul. He was a professor in UNM Anderson School of Business. I have Charlene Swedland Rigo, we call her Char. She passed away 2020. And Iliana Marquesani, she passed away 2 years ago. And my last is Jack Darras from France. He passed away last year. These people were amazing, very dedicated to others without counting any time. And I'm thinking right now of the father of a dear friend is now in the hospital. I want to thank my family and friends for their support. Thank you for my friends coming today. Thank you for Kate for your support during the 2 years of law school. And you will be happy to hear your words. And to finish, I have a special gratitude goes to my lovely sister Hakima and Antonino Mercury. And I also wish to express my deep gratitude to the outstanding faculty and staff on the UNM Law School, especially my former and current professors who have shared their knowledge, skills, and experience, and not forgetting the cleaners behind the curtain whose hard work and dedication help this place shine. And I mean it. As my lovely sister Hakima said, les plus grandes douleurs sont muettes. It means in French, the greatest sorrows and pain are silent, often masked by a big and genuine smile. And the last words to the lawyers we honor today, I want to say your legacy will continue from us and forever. Thank you.
Thank you for I wanted to mention that there's no first, second, and third. We had to list them in the programs, but that's not necessarily the order in which they were ranked. It's really interesting the way the discussion happened, because there was no first, second, and third. It was just kind of a discussion of who were writing the best. And it wasn't always easy to find, but that's the way it happened. So our next essay winner is Victor Reyes. And he starts out, and there were two people that used phrases to begin their essays. And he said, justice is blind, but its servants are not. And that while disagreements are common, which is very true in our profession, I always made space, he always made space to listen and actively sought a 50-yard line. He focused on what a fight was worth. In other words, if the fight was worth it, we'd do it. And if it wasn't, then we would ignore meritless issues in securing the focus of what mattered. He also said, the focus must be on providing high quality, ethical representation that builds a reputation that can sustain both business and the integrity of the profession. One of the interesting things that you did, Victor, that I've not readily seen in other essays is that you talked about reputation. Everybody talks about value, everybody talks about ethics, everybody talks about professionalism. And the silence behind those words that you bring to fore is reputation. Because we all know that have been in the business, the reputation that an attorney has is what makes his or her practice somewhat easier or an awful lot harder. So Victor, come on up.
Congratulations.
I want to thank the Senior Lawyers Division for this incredible honor, to the entire board of directors, and for everybody who contributed to make this evening possible. And I want to take a moment to once again honor those who lost their lives in the past year, serving other people throughout their lives. I'm humbled to be able to be a part of that, to be part of the legacy in some small way of so many people. I want to thank all of the faculty and the staff of the University of New Mexico School of Law. You had an opportunity to hear from one of them earlier today, Dean Martinez. And you know, Dean Martinez really sold himself short on the role that he plays at our university. I don't know if I would have applied for this scholarship if it wasn't for his insistence, but I will tell you what I do know for sure. I would never have signed my name on my first order of entry of appearance if it was not for him. I would have never had the opportunity to provide counsel to a client of my own if not for him. I would never have had the opportunity to hear directly and to feel like I could be and take ownership in the process of zealously advocating for a client on my own, if not for him in the program that he's helped build at the University of New Mexico School of Law through the clinical law program. And I'm so grateful for that dedication that he brings each and every single day. Jocelyn, when you came and you introduced yourself to us during our class, you came and you shook each of our hands and you invited us into this process. And you know, I don't think that you can really underestimate how much that means. Because for so much of my life, you know, I've been the recipient of so many opportunities, and so many of those times it's felt like I've had to fight for them. And I've had them despite what others thought of me, despite what the obstacles were in front of me. And to have somebody shake my hand and to say and to welcome me into this process, into this opportunity, has really meant the world to me. You know, you heard a little bit about my thoughts about reputation, and those are thoughts that I can't take ownership of having developed on my own. Those came from other people. Those came from the primarily my experience working in the New Mexico State Legislature. And in the Mexico State Legislature, I started off lobbying somebody who didn't know anything about what a committee room was, what the process was, how to go about it. And I got taught very quickly, people took me under their wings. Later, I would go on and I'd be given an opportunity to work for an attorney who is the Senate Majority Leader, had just been elected, Senator Peter Wirth, who brought me in. Why he chose me to be his first hire of his Majority Leader position, I'll never know. but because of him, I was able to meet some really incredible people that took me under their wing and told me everything from how the budget works and operates to how the system of honor operates. Because in the legislature, it was made very clear that your word is your bond. You can make mistakes, you can miscount a vote, you can not understand what an amendment does. But the second it is that you lie, the second it is that you misrepresent something, you lose credibility. You lose your word, you lose that system of value that building is operated under. And because of that understanding, I was able to build relationships with so many members of the legislature. One of them we honored earlier today in Senator Bill O'Neill. And I was able to work for a 50-yard line. That was a saying that another person that we've lost, Senator John Arthur Smith, taught me. There's always a 50-yard line. When we recognize that we're both working for the same goal, that all parties are working to a common path, we can always find that 50-yard line. Because we might not agree on how we get somewhere, but we will always agree that we care about the state, we care about the communities that we serve. And I could not help but thinking about Senator O'Neill. He gave me, when I left the legislature, working for the legislature, to work for a campaign for Congresswoman Michelle Lujan Grisham, who later became governor and later allowed me the opportunity to serve as her legislative director, a job, an honor that I didn't deserve either. He gave me a book, his book of poetry. And when he passed away, I went and I revisited it. And I had forgotten the inscription that he put there on the front page of it. "We miss you, buddy. Go do good things." There's a saying that we drink from the wells that are dug by others. Tonight, I feel that truth that so deeply. The attorneys whose memories the scholarship honors dug those wells through long hours, hard cases, steadfast ethics, and a belief that the law can and should be a force for good. Their work created opportunities for those of us who follow. Their commitment carved pathways that made it possible for me and for future generations to stand here today. And in New Mexico, here we honor a very simple truth. Family isn't just the people who we share blood with. It's the people who we build community with. We open our arms, we make room at the table for others. We stretch a penny into a copper wire a mile long to provide for those that we care about and to give opportunities for others who we feel a responsibility for. That spirit of inclusion, of mentorship, of lifting as we climb is exactly what this award represents. The senior lawyers who steward the scholarship and the attorneys whose name it carries have embraced young professionals like me as part of that extended family. You have shown the legal community in New Mexico is not that the law is not just a profession, it's a shared home. There's another truth that we carry that you heard I started my essay with earlier. Justice is blind, but its servants are not. We see the people behind every single case. We see their struggles, their hopes, their fears, and the attorneys that we honor tonight saw those people clearly. They served with compassion, with integrity, and recognition that the law is only as strong as the humanity with which it is practiced. They bound themselves to the rules requiring them to be sales advocates, but also committed themselves to an oath of honesty, integrity, and respect for the justice system, ensuring our pursuit of our clients' interests never compromises the truth, fairness, or the greater good. They understood deeply that the maintenance of the balance between the professional and the business aspects of law requires recognizing our duty to uphold the ethical integrity of our clients' goals and the moral quality of our actions. To receive this scholarship in their memory is both humbling and motivating. It challenges me to carry forward the values they lived by. It calls on me to serve with the same clarity of vision, the same sense of duty, and the same commitment to community. To the families of the attorneys remembered here tonight, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing your loved ones with the public. Their legacy continues in every well that they dug, in every life that they touched, and now in every student that they inspire. To the Senior Lawyers Division, thank you for keeping their memories alive and by investing in the future of our profession. Thank you for opening your arms and making room at the table. To my classmates to whom I share this award, no introduction or accolade can represent the quality of the individuals that you are. Fuad, since the second that I heard your story, our first year, I've been so inspired by who you are and by the quality of the character of the person that you represent. All I can say is that your parents are extremely proud and continue to look upon you and the continuation of the legacy of love that you built with so much warmth. And I hope that you have the opportunity to feel that warmth and that love, and that it be returned to you tenfold, because you give it back to each and every single one of us. And I'm just so grateful to have had the opportunity to share the classroom for the last 2.5 years with you. Kate, I don't know that I'd be graduating as quickly, or even if I would be graduating at all if it wasn't for you. You know, Kate is one of the hardest working people, not just that I've met in my class, but ever in my life. The amount of dedication that she gives, not just to her own success, of which she has had plenty, but to the success of others and sharing in that. It's never jealously guarded. She understands that when we all succeed, this world can be a better place. And so I'm just so grateful that I'm the beneficiary of that friendship, a friendship that I've been honored to have since our first year of law school. Thank you for the coffee and the studying and the telling me that it was going to be okay. Sometimes it was, sometimes it wasn't, but hey, here we are today. And so I'm just so grateful to you. I accept this scholarship with immense gratitude, with humility, and with the promise to the family members who are here today of those that we have lost. I will honor the legacy of those that came before me. I will use their memory as my North Star always in my practice, and I will help dig wells for those that will come after. Thank you.
This job is great. You know, I get to meet these wonderful young people. There's 4 of them sitting right here. And if I wasn't helping out in this area, I wouldn't have the opportunity to meet you. And also to read about the people who you went to law school with, the things they think about. Some were really stupid, very frankly. And some were really good, but not quite good enough. But that's the way things go. Our next lady is Kate Lingd. I don't know. I don't think I'm doing a good job. Just like with Fuad, you can tell people your real name. Kate was one of those people who used a phrase that we all had heard about. Don't lose the forest for the trees. But what she did is turned it around a little bit and said, true that the forest don't lose the trees for the fear of the forest. And that caught my attention. And she's just a wonderful young lady. And it's true what you said, that she really cares. It's not just she's going to law school and she's going to get good grades and she's going to graduate and go out and practice and be best. She cared about her classmates, and she cared about the people who were going to law school with, whom she knew were going to be part of her community, not her law school community, but the legal community. And one of the things that she did is she began to add resources and reminders into an email that went to all of the students. And you can talk a little bit more about that if you like. But I just thought that was wonderful because that was your attempt to build community before you got into the legal community. And I'm sure you're going to do the same after you get your ticket. There was something else that you said that made a difference to me. I can't find it. Oh, the small scale connections that make a difference. That helps us to remember our humanity and the humanity of others. And that reminds us that there is good to be found, even in the smallest gesture. So, Kate, come on up.
Sorry, I am, in addition to appreciating the smallest of gestures, one of the shorter of people, so. Hi, everyone. My name's Kate Leung. I'm a 3L law student, and I'm really honored to be a recipient of this award. I want to echo what Fouad and Victor have said about thanks to the faculty and staff at the law school and the Senior Lawyers Division. And I also want to echo that I'm really honored to receive this award in the company of two of my close friends at law school and people that I have great respect for. Your words have meant a lot to me, and I'm very, very proud to be here with you. As Mr. Rivo shared, my essay is about my personal philosophy, which is centered around building community through extending kindness and connection on a daily basis. And as I wrote, even those smallest of gestures matter. I first learned about the value of connection like this from one of my original teachers, who is also here tonight, my mom. My mom, Susan, and I share a love of baking. When I was younger, I would watch her bake. I'd help her crack the eggs and stir the bowl, and I would see the smiles on people's faces when she arrived somewhere with a plate of cookies or a basket of muffins. And when people talk about social currency, to me, those muffins are social currency because my mom has this recipe that makes 5 dozen pumpkin chocolate chip muffins. It's easy to make, it's moist, it is delicious. My coworkers and classmates will tell you, if we spend enough time together, one day I'm gonna arrive with a basket of muffins to share. And sure, partly that's because it's impossible for me to eat them all myself, but mostly it's because it's part of my attempt to build community. When I share those muffins, I just hope that they make someone's day a little bit better. Sometimes I get to learn about people's favorite recipes, favorite flavors, their own family tradition, or even try something that they made. But regardless, sharing food helps me feel a little closer to the people in the world around me. Funny story about the muffins, too. When I first moved out on my own, I really wanted some, so I tried to make them using the cookbook recipe that my mom said she used. But spoiler, not the same and not nearly as good. And I was like, what went wrong? So I asked my mom, what did I do? And she said, well, I cut this ingredient in half and I replaced this one for that one and I do this part differently. And I was like, Mom, I think you made a new recipe. So the next time I came home, we made them together and I wrote down everything she did. And I'm proud to say that not only is that my favorite recipe, it's an original creation of my mom. But why am I standing up here telling you about muffins? Because I think that that story shows the power of legacy in community. My mom used her skills to improve that recipe and to share it with the people she knew. And I used my skills to write it down into a format that other people could also use. Through our shared love of baking, we made our community better. And when we connect with people over our shared interests, whether that's baking or the law or our love of our beautiful state, the community around us benefits. My mom has probably never thought of those muffins as her legacy. But how many people have smiled in their day because she gave them an unexpected treat? And how many people have a recipe in their files with her name on it? And how many people have used that recipe to make muffins for their own community? That ripple effect and that community work is also what we do here today. It is truly a privilege to be a part of a community like the New Mexico State Bar. I have deep respect for the lawyers honored here today and their families, and deep, deep gratitude to be a part of their legacy. They may never have thought that their names would share a room with Foed, with Victor, and I, with our humanity, our reputation, and our muffins. But because of their work and their families, your work, and the connection that we share, our community is a better place. Thank you for supporting my education and my future. And I promise that in that future, I will continue to invest my efforts, both big and small, into the continued growth and betterment of our state bar. Brick by brick, muffin by muffin, and smile by smile. Thank you very much. And of course, if you want the recipe, let me know.
Very good. Thank you, everybody. Thanks to all of our presenters, to Terry Rebo, and and he's not done yet. I thought I was almost done. Go ahead.
Well, the first thing that I wanted to do was a shout out and a thank you to Jocelyn, because she stepped in and took over and just has done an excellent job as both the chair and the incoming chair, and a good friend of mine who helped me out to make this event a possibility. So I wanted to make sure she gave me a chance to let you know how wonderful she is. There's a sadness to what we do. And part of it is that we recognize that many of the people we know are on the list. And another part of it is that we understand the part that family plays in a lawyer's life, and the part that a lawyer plays in the family's life. Now, this is not just family, nuclear family. It also includes friends and individuals that were close to the family. But when you think about what the family shares or sometimes endures with the lawyer, the missed dinners, the going back to the office at night, the work over the weekends, you can't believe what this judge did to me. The recognition that at 3:00 in the morning, the lawyer's up wondering or worrying about a particular topic. So the families are just so important. And so while we honor the lawyers, we also honor the families and everyone that's included in that category. So that's what I wanted to say. And that's why I booted Jocelyn off. But it's his turn, or her turn now. And thank you all for coming.
So thanks, everybody. I think this was the best presentation that I have seen. So thanks so much for all of your contributions. And we're going to have our reception now. So stick around. Thank you.